So here we are, closing out the story arc. Last time we blew up the replicators and their planet too, thanks to a fleet of us, the Wraith, and the Pegasus humans. So, that's that problem solved. But this episode backs up to before the victory, when Wraith darts were being used to target the hyperdrives of the replicator ships. The moment that the shipboard replicators began being sucked down to the planet, though, the darts were redirected to the city for a secret secondary objective, before escaping the explosions. Turns out, they stole some of the ZPMs.
Now we have what we need to complete our mission.
Uh-oh, probably not good news for us. They wouldn't keep this a secret if it was doing humanity a favor. Wraith surprises usually end with life force being sucked away. By the time a week has passed, the united Wraith forces have now fractured, sizing each other up for the inevitable civil war. But the odd thing is that the signal from the tracking device implanted in their Wraith ally is now reactivated, suggesting he had done so deliberately in order to get their attention. And the likelihood of an ambush is minimal. There's no other ships there and no places that any could hide. It's just frickin' bizarre, even for space vampires. Well, the Atlantis team mulls this over, and while they don't feel any loyalty to help out, this is weird enough to merit an investigation. What can I say? Sometimes altruism loses where curiosity wins. Meanwhile, Taylor is still pregnant. Continuity exists. So while they suit up, she comes by to join in the mission, but after all the rest of them leave or get dragged away, Shepard shoots her down.
I'm not having this conversation again.
We have not had it yet.
She's got a point. Like I said last time, it's just a medical condition, something that needs to be examined with logic, but not going to spontaneously burst open and dozens of giant beetles come swarming out or something like that. Again, disregarding her pregnancy would be foolish, but saying for the next 6 months she needs to stay home and shut the fuck up is overcompensating. But that's what he pretty much does. Yeah, bake some cookies while you're stuck here, woman. So, the dudes all head to the ship, finding signs that it was attacked by another hive ship, and some cannibalism has taken place. Dead Wraith all over the ship. But their old ally is not one of them. The tracking device has been cut out of him and left behind. There's no idea where he might be.
Including our friend.
Stop calling him that. It's weird.
Then what do we call him?
I don't know. Let's go with Todd. It's a guy I knew in college. He's very pale.
Todd's a terrible name.
It's just hard to imagine a space vampire dressed like a Cenobite being called Todd. There's no menace to it. The only threat I expect from Todd is trying to steal my girlfriend in a college hijinks movie. With no Wraith on board, the ship is theirs. They need a way to get it home, though. That's the only problem. As turns out, we don't have a giant tow truck in space. Well, the funny thing is, much like how you need the ancient gene in order to use stuff built by the Atlanteans, you need Wraith ancestry in order to fly their ships. That means Taylor. Shepard admits he might have come down a bit heavy on her at first, but he adds that it is his call who goes on a mission. Which is true. But it's hard to feel a valued member of a team if you're benched until literally no one but you can do something. I understand you may be worried about someone being a liability, but see, the problem with that is...
What did you do?
Nothing.
You touched something, didn't you?
No. Maybe just a little.
At one time or another, it describes every member of your team, including you. By the time Shepard gets back with Taylor, McKay has figured out where the ship was going. A top-secret Wraith outpost. Something that was critical to their victory over the Ancients. So McKay has been spending this time getting the ship ready to fly there so that they can look into this. If the Wraith used this to defeat the Ancients, we probably don't want them turning it back on again. Shepard would rather use the data list to check this out, but Taylor points out they probably don't have that kind of time. The Wraith already have a head start just getting to the place, after all. So, it's the broken hive ship, or likely letting the Wraith do whatever they feel like. Both plans suck, but plan 1 sucks less, so we'll do that one. Pretty much our standard approach. Take the path of least suck. So Taylor takes them to a moon near the target so that they're hidden for now. But then she almost collapses.
This is exactly the kind of situation I didn't want to put you in.
Is that an I told you so? Because you realize that A, you were the one who approached her about flying the ship, and B, interfacing with alien technology on a psychic level might be draining regardless of whether or not you're pregnant. So as far as the landing goes, it'll be down to him, McKay, and Ronan. The rest will stay with Taylor to guard their new ship. Which is good because the Wraith are definitely still here. Their hive ship is still in orbit, and there's energy readings coming from the planet. Checking it out reveals a queen, but one that seems to be webbed into her chair. Not sure what her deal is. If she's in charge of this, is this a very elaborate way to watch Sex in the City? Who knows? They eventually spot things writhing inside of translucent tubes, one of which soon gets some visitors. The miracle of birth, and by miracle I mean abomination. McKay figures it's a form of reproduction. With the Wraith being descended partially from bugs, this isn't surprising. But the question is why they're doing it here rather than on a hive ship. You know, you can set the mood there and such. It's not easy to have a dozen kids at once, I'm sure. I mean, I saw 2 at once, and that was ugly. Soon they find huge numbers of pods, and after patching in, McKay says this is just one of 100 rooms like this, all filled with pods, except there is no way a queen could provide enough genetic material for that many, no matter how many 50 Shades of Grey books you give her. So while they try to figure out what to do about this mess, the queen is awakened and told that the stuff for the template is ready, whatever that means. But all this is thanks to their prisoner, Todd, only she'd rather eat Todd than keep him around, and he knows it. So when the guards come to collect him, he's prepared for his execution. Luckily, Shepard and company get there first, but they make clear this reunion isn't sentimental. They want answers. So Todd gives it to them. The queen starts with a number of warriors reproduced the normal way, slap in the face to Mother Nature kind of way, sure. But then those are reproduced over and over again as clones. This was the way the Wraith won the war against the Ancients. They gained numerical advantage by creating a massive clone army. Seems like a common villain tactic, I suppose. They didn't use it until now because there weren't any ZPMs to power it. Now that he had some, Todd wanted to have an army to eliminate the other factions, except he was betrayed, and now another hive is co-opting the plan. But fortunately, we can thwart that plan. If we were conscious, of course. Todd made it away, and while McKay thinks that he'll come back for them, the other 2 aren't too optimistic about that. It turns out they're right. The fact they're soon dragged before the queen says it probably doesn't matter, though. They've got about 5 minutes, and then they're going to look like mummies in tactical gear. But Taylor detects an approaching dart, and while the Major wants to shoot it down, Taylor gets hold of it and finds out that it is Todd, who says that he'll explain everything once he's on board. But yeah, he says there's no option now except to run away. Saving the others is impossible. And really, in any other circumstance, he would be right. It's not that dick of a move as it seems. It's just that Taylor has a very brilliant strike of inspiration here. But she's going to have to act fast, because the queen threatens to feed on McKay if Shepard doesn't answer her questions.
Oh, great. My entire life I've never been chosen first.
Don't get me started. Luckily, Taylor's plan has worked. She has remotely taken control of the queen's mind using her latent Wraith abilities, so that instead of draining McKay, they're all sent back to their cells. Taylor's sitting on the queen's throne on the Wraith ship. Not sure if that helps or not, but one thing that does help is having a baby with the same gene inside of you. 2 hybrids trumps 1 pure Wraith. That'll teach your people not to play with their food. She makes the queen head to the cells, blast the guard, and freeze and arms our heroes. But possibly at a cost, as the queen has been working to reach back into Taylor and snuff out the baby's life. So Shepard guns the queen down on his way out. Would have been nicer to push her into her own oven, but we don't really have time for the fairy tale version. The team tries to get the ZPMs, but it's too late. One of the flunkies has already turned on the cloning machine, and McKay's not feeling confident about finding them amidst hundreds of pages, all written in Wraith. It's worse than assembly instructions for a new piece of yard equipment. When the alarm sounds, even Shepard thinks it's time to bolt, so they fight their way out the exit. But the problem is that our Wraith ship has finally been found by the other Wraith ship, the one that kicked its ass in the first place. So odds of winning round 2 are pretty frickin' low. Unless the mob got them to take a dive or something, I think they're going to mop the floor with us. Fortunately, nick-of-time escapes are our specialty. So the jumper is on the way even as the Wraith ship starts to take a pounding. But not to worry, Shepard has a plan. They crash the hive ship. Yeah, I didn't say it was a great plan. They crashed the hive ship into the cloning facility in order to destroy the facility forever, escaping in a jumper. Except for Todd, who took a dart. So, that's all this wrapped up. Just leaves the matter of the baby. There's room for a little heart-to-heart between Taylor and Shepard about the baby, and the end. In the companion video, I'll take a look back at these 3 episodes.